All right, Ian, we have a Patreon.
We do patreon.com/CU podcast.
And we offer some a selection of bevies. We don't have any toast boxes though. But what do we have there?
Services.
What's a toast box?
Services. We have services there.
Ian does a writing once a week.
Yeah, I do it. Writing once a week.
Gonna do one today or tomorrow?
I do it. Yeah, I do a hangout once a month. We do the full audio podcast.
Yes,
is on there. That's the
no full video podcast.
Full video. That's the big
audio one's available anywhere. Podbean, Stitcher,
audio,
iTunes.
Anywhere.
Please download the audio version. I know you like to see our chubby faces, but please download the audio version there. What the hell's a toast box? Sorry, from before.
My guess is that it's like avocado toast to go.
Okay. Anyway, so we have a Patreon poll. So in third place, Microprose returning as a publisher. Is it a big deal or not? No, it's not, because only 21% of people cared in the poll. In second place, wow, this is neck and neck, 37%. Would the value of complete in-box NES games be different now had they used plastic cases? 37%. In first place, Ian, a deep dive discussion of NBA Jam.
So I don't know what if I can deep dive, but I can tell you that I've played the shit out of NBA Jam.
Well, you better be able to, because this has been here for 7 weeks.
I can talk about my past with NBA Jam. Sure. First, I would like to take this moment to promote my friend Ray and Ali's book, NBA Jam, from Boss Fight.
Oh, yeah,
it's damn good. It's real good.
My copy's around here somewhere.
So get that and read it. And I'm not going to talk about that behind the scenes stuff, because that's what you buy the book for.
Oh, you could drop a ditty or two to help promote the book.
But I don't know. It should be right there, because I guarantee you have not flipped through it yet.
It should be right here.
It should be.
It's on top of my Red Bull Pac-Man limited box here.
Yes, which has also been sitting there for so long, it's insane.
I don't know what to do with that thing. Sorry, go on.
But yes, I remember NBA Jam clearly. I remember the first time I played it, my buddy wanted me to play it in the arcade. It was his birthday. It was at Putt Putt Funning Games. It was
Putt Funning Games.
It was a mini golf course. There was a chain of them.
The generic mini golf is Putt Putt.
Putt Putt. That's what it was called. And I didn't want to, because it was a sports game and I didn't understand. So I watched them play, and I jumped in, and I watched, and I was like, this is different. I was like, I don't have to follow a team of players. I don't have to worry about rules and regulations. I was like, this just looks like basketball.
You really don't know basketball strategy that much to play it?
There's different strategy entirely for NBA Jam, because it's a 2-on-2.
It's 2-on-2.
It's not 5-on-5. Also, you can shove people and there's no penalties.
Knock to the floor.
And you can run, and then you see the dunks for the first time, and you go, holy shit. So I jumped in, and I wasn't immediately good at it, but to me, I always played NBA Jam more to me, it almost felt like a mixture between a sport and a fighting game. It's very, very competitive, very, very back and forth. Just in terms of how I think your emotions come out, it's simpler, and it's more immediate. Your mistakes are, I would say, as opposed to playing something like FIFA, your mistakes are, I mean, it's
immediate.
Right,
it's quick, this game.
It's very, very fast.
You get the ball, you can score in 3 seconds.
Exactly. So I played that a lot in the arcade. When I'd go, I would actually play with my friend. He would want to play like Mortal Kombat or something, and I'd want to play NBA Jam. When it came to console, I remember that being a big deal. Midway, Acclaim, who did publishing from Midway at the time, was really good about making their game releases a big deal. Everyone remembers Mortal Monday, and NBA Jam was also a really big deal at the time too. I remember like it being a huge thing in school. NBA Jam TE was the follow-up, which added an actual tournament mode, so you wouldn't have to do everything by paper sheets and stuff like that. But I think the big thing that everyone really remembers from TE is all of the crazy codes and all of the crazy
there was crazy codes in the original.
There was
more.
But there's far more in TE. All the different players that you could unlock and stuff like that.
Do you have any memories of like a really tense matchup, like a 4-player matchup?
No, but because, I mean, honestly, most NBA Jam games, that's how I would describe them, is pretty tense.
We didn't realize at the time with with the rubber band AI, it was so hard to beat. Like I remember
Against the computer for
yes,
sure.
by the third or fourth game, it got tough. Like it got tough trying to go through, and then you realize, well, that's because they want your quarters. They're making it hard on purpose. They didn't realize, you had to turn off or turn on tournament mode. I always get confused in order to turn off the AI assist. The first time I played it was what it came out 93. Mortal Kombat came out 92. So you're getting into the digitized realm of video games more and more by the early 90s, and it was at the drug fair. You had drug fairs, right? Mm-hmm. Which was like your kind of CVS but bigger. I remember it was like a little bit bigger than a CVS, it was a little bit different than a CVS. I remember, but it was in the same ballpark. And they had the NBA Jam machine in the back, next to those like swinging doors that went into like the back stock area in the break room. It was like right next to that, like all the way in the back. So they had an NBA Jam.
Employees must have hated that.
They had an NBA Jam, and they had a Mortal Kombat there. And I think they had a third or fourth game. I'm trying to remember, but that's right the first time I saw it. And we rode our bikes there. Me and my cousin Chris, and it was like wow, it's a 4-player cabinet, which wasn't, there wasn't a ton of 4-player cabinets, but it was surprising because to me that was the first, not indication, but that was the first time you saw a game like that and said, wow, we have a basketball game that's really going to blow up now for everyone. And you hadn't to that point, and so when you look at that, like, yeah, it's based upon Arch Rivals, but Arch Rivals, 2-on-2, but Arch Rivals was cartoony. The gameplay wasn't the best. It was a little jittery. This is pick up and play. Arch Rivals, you can say, isn't easy to pick up and play. This is easy to pick up and play.
I'd say Arch Rivals is pretty easy to pick up and play.
Not to do that well at it, I would say. This is a lot smoother.
I mean, this is better for sure, but I don't think
it's
Arch
miles
Rivals
better.
was hard to play. I mean,
pick
hard
up
to
and
learn.
play.
Sure.
So anyway, it was a time in 93 when the NBA exploded because of Jordan. By 93, he had won 3 in a row before he retired for a year and a half. So the timing was just perfect, even though Jordan wasn't in the game famously. He was the one big guy not in the game. Then Shaq and Barkley weren't in the other iterations after their rights were sold off for shitty fucking games, basically. For like Shaq Fu and for Barkley Shut Up and Jam.
Yep.
Yeah, but that for that 1.0 though, or whatever, maybe 1.1, you had Barkley and Shaq in the game there. So you had no Jordan. And of course the rumor is there was a version made with Jordan in it. I don't know if that was ever actually confirmed or not, or if it was, we don't know if Jordan has it somewhere. He doesn't give a shit about it. But yeah, that was sort of the blow up time. Like NBA got bigger in the 80s mostly because of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and the Celtics versus Lakers, but it went worldwide in the 90s because of Jordan. And yeah, Jordan was a phenomenon in and of itself. He's like Babe Ruth. He's one of those like 5 guys that he really went outside of sports and to pop culture to a large extent. But no, it was fun because you tracked your progress. I played the Knicks, obviously. Oakley and Ewing was a solid team on defense, and Ewing was a pretty good shooter in the game, like in real life. Could hit those threes, Ewing. Here and there. And I would say this, I was always an arcade snob, which is why I never liked the Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game on the NES, because it didn't even look to me or feel like the arcade game.
It's stiff, and it adds levels that don't need to be there. I really dislike the TMNT 2 port.
You hit through the enemies with no damage in that game.
I do not like it.
It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so the Super Nintendo version comes out, and I immediately don't like it.
I loved the Genesis version.
I did not like the Super Nintendo version because the players they had one face on it, or maybe 2, but there was only 2 heights. They're either really tiny or huge there, so there was no scaling on the game as well. And the announcing, they no music while you play the game on court. For whatever reason. I don't know why they didn't do that. And then there was only like 10 to 12 different voice samples that they could fit in the game.
It's one of those rare instances where the Genesis version of the game is considered far better than the Super Nintendo version of the game.
But in the Genesis version, it's a little bit harder to play because you don't have triggers for turbo. But you can still play it though, but it's just a little bit tougher, right? Because you had the turbo in the middle and the B.
I have no problem with it, yeah.
Or is it on the A? I forget.
I think it's B.
It was B in the middle, so
I think it's B, so you can hold it.
You
to
can
run.
roll it to
hold it and then slide over to shoot easier.
But you also have the shove with it as well for steal.
But yeah, I still play the Genesis version. I play the Genesis version with Lincoln, and it's fun. But playing the arcade version and I rarely play the arcade version these days. It's so good.
The original, like, you don't need to play the arcade TE or Hang Time. The original is still a great game, even if it doesn't have everything else that the other ones have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the original.
It doesn't have the alley oops that they added to Hang Time, or the fadeaways and leaners they had in Hang Time. TE added what did TE add for gameplay? Off the top of my head, didn't add a huge amount. It did do like the spots on the court, the special modes. Substitutions, yes, that was
There's more attributes for the players as well,
but not on the court. It was the same game.
It was the same game.
Gotcha.
Did you know that when they first demoed the game, like there wasn't any stats for any of the players? They didn't think about that.
Really?
And that was one of the first bits of feedback they got. And before this actually comes from Rain's book, before they play tested it again the next night, I think it was Termel went back to work and spent the entire night just feeding stats into the players so that they would all be
just
a little
guessing,
bit
even just to have something.
Yeah. I mean, he was a big basketball fan, so I mean, he had a good idea.
I'm shocked they wouldn't have thought of that before.
There was no stats initially. The first play test of it, the first version of NBA Jam that went out for play test, had no stats, and it wasn't because they weren't implemented yet. It was because they just hadn't done it.
Wow.
Because that's something about arch rivals that a lot of people don't know. They all have little indicators under them that say great thrower or something like that. They're all the same exact player. There's no statistical differences between any of the players in arch rivals.
That's so weird. Yeah. They didn't think about that to get that, because even you had other basketball games I guess the simulations had different stats for players.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't realize, it's not a thing that people would be concerned about.
Well, I mean, I guess
maybe it's because some teams sucked compared to others, like in real life.
Sure.
Like, you're not going to pick no one's going to pick the Mavericks to play NBA Jam.
Yeah, NBA Jam is not balanced on purpose.
There's 7 good teams to pick from.
Yeah, you're playing with the actual teams.
You're playing with the Sonics, the Bulls, obviously. You're playing with the Knicks.
Hornets.
You're not playing with those teams that got in 7th or 8th or 9th place. You know? You're just not, because they don't have the All-Stars. If you had All-Stars, you have a better team. The Rockets you would have played with at the time. The Nuggets, maybe. I'm trying to remember the rosters. I should bring up the rosters.
Hornets are always my team in that.
Was it Muggsy and LJ?
No, it was LJ and I think the home version. It was Morning. I can't remember who the original was for 1.0 of the arcade.
Yeah, because even after 1.1, they changed out a bunch of players for trades.
Let me see. Hornets
original NBA Jam roster.
NBA Jam.
Here's the original roster. And some have 3 because I swapped out one. Gotcha. That can't be. Oh, that's for SNES. Okay. No, you would have picked the Jazz, Stockton and Malone. Everyone would have picked them as well. You can get Reggie Miller and Rick Smits on the Pacers. Anyway, so did you mind that there was only 2 guys on each team?
No, I didn't. I mean, it's like I said, when watching
they added injuries to TE to make you want to swap out players. That's right.
So it was Morning and Curry by the time you got to TE. There was a substitution. I'm not sure who else was there. Anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter.
TE had at least 3 per. Some teams had 4.
But no, it didn't bother me. Like I said at the beginning of it, that was actually what appealed to me. It was less to pay attention to.
Gotcha.
It was easier to focus on. It made it something that appealed to me. I didn't feel like I needed to know the sport of basketball super well to play it. Because as much as I love basketball now, me getting into basketball wasn't really something that happened until 99, 2000.
Sure.
So
EGM rated the Super Nintendo version, gave it a 9 out of 10. Hell no, 9 out of 10. You know how hard it is to block in that game? Blocking's broken in the Super Nintendo version of NBA Jam. It's broken. You can't block a dunk in that game on the Super Nintendo. That's a bullshit review, EGM. Come on. The Genesis one only 7.6 out of 10. I do know that blocking is easier on the Genesis one. I do know that. It's a somewhat different engine, I believe. Anyway, I never played the Sega CD version or 32X ones. I don't know how much better they are. But Hang Time, it ends the trilogy, basically. I don't care what the other Jam crappy games are.
Showtime's fine too.
But they had that 3/4 one that shifted, and no. Hang Time is a great game, but no one... People talk about it, but people don't associate with NBA Jam because but it's NBA Jam. basically, and it's a fantastic game. It has a create a player. Like I said, it has leaners, and it has a little bit more technical skills involved in playing the game. They added for that third one that basically to me caps the trilogy there. Anyway, check out again. I'll say this every time. This is the best video ever. Me and Lance from Retroware are beating Stuttering Craig at NBA Jam at MagFest like 2011 or 12, 2-on-2, and Craig was so pissed because Craig does not like to lose.
Also, get that book, NBA Jam, Boss Fight Books, Ray and Ali. Buy it.
Damn it! I thought I had it right over here before. Yeah, check it out. Check
Ray,
out that
and you
book.
owe me some Ruffles.
Ruffles.
Yeah, we talk about snacks online. I like snacks.
I want to talk to an author about snacks. That'd be great. Me and Blake don't talk about snacks enough. Oh, Blake's announcing a new book, by the way. I don't know what it's going to be, but he announced the announcement of a book. So that's, I think I know what it's going to be based on conversations, but I won't give it away until it comes out. But it's if it is what I think it is, it's going to be interesting. I'll just say that.